Hello, everyone. This is Brother Benson, and today I'm joined with Jimmy Magero, is our guest this evening, and we want to discuss about the issue of the nation, especially concerning about the Gen Z, the protests that we've been having, and what are the grievances that the Gen Z are asking, and we are asking, is the government listening, and where are we? Can we bridge the gap between the state and the people so that the things that the Gen Z are asking for are listened to and addressed? Let me take this opportunity to give my guests an opportunity to say hi to our viewers. Welcome, sir.
Okay, thank you, Brother Benson. My name is Jimmy Magero. I'm a youth leader from Kisumu County, Kenya. I must, and with the utmost humility, say that much humbled to have been invited to come to your studio to speak about issues that are affecting our nations, our opinion, our ideas, that we can bring forth to make sure that we make Kenya a great nation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Also, we really appreciate for giving us this opportunity to host you. I know as a young person, you have issues that you're dealing with, especially kutafuta, hali ya kutafuta. Unajua hiyo iko ukipata kama mgeni amekupatia nafasi ili mzungumuze, pia tunasema ni asante sana. I will be engaging you in two languages, English and Kiswahili. I hope you're okay with that. But to start with, in your own lenses, what can you say about the state of the nation right now, you as you see it?
Okay, at the moment, I would say that our nation is in a very bad place. We are walking on a tightrope, actually. We can see that the political class have already begun beating drums of war or different political factions. And we need to take responsibility and ensure that we stop this as early as possible. Elections are just barely 1.5 years away, and we have got bad histories with elections. Every 5 years, blood is shed. Every 5 years, blood is shed. And this has happened from the first time when we had elective politics in our nation.
Yeah.
And we need to do something about it. Leaders need to be responsible. We need to make sure that we rise up to the occasion. The government need to do the necessary. The organs which are there that are supposed to stop all this drum of war, we need to rise up. Our constitution, and I think it's chapter 15 on the independent offices and commission created some of these offices that are supposed to look into this issue. So, yeah, the
So
country.
talking, you've talked about election, and you've given a period, the numbers that which we should be going into election. But right now, as you know very well that the IEBC is yes constituted, yes, but there's a court case, especially that was challenging the commissioners that were appointed, and even the president went ahead to gazette the commissioners, yet there was a court case. And you've talked about what usually happens after election. Do you see that there's something that is going to happen quite much different with what has been happening based on what is now going around the commissioners?
Mr. Benson, first, we are a nation that is governed by the rule of law, and we have got all the rules that are necessary in ensuring that we have got an independent electoral and boundary commission in place.
Yeah.
And this is the body that is charged with the duty of ensuring that we have got a credible and fair election at the end of the day. So if there are Kenyans who moved to court challenging the appointment or the manner in which these officials were appointed, that is also valid, because Kenyans have got a right in case they have got an issue concerning either the merit of any of the officials, or maybe if they have got issues with any official who has been appointed. oversee our elections, because elections are a very sensitive issue in our country, and we must ensure that we have got men and women who are of high standards to make sure that this election do not take us the same path that we have seen our
Mhm.
nation go every 5 years. So uh, it's okay if Kenyans have gone to court, and
Mhm.
we expect that the officials will do their work within the confine of the law to make sure that they give Kenyans a credible, fair election at the end of the day.
Okay, thank you so much. And you're talking about credible, fair election. And especially we are still here, especially when we talk about the election commissioners or the elective posts, especially that are being given to commissioners, you find that the big boys or the political class, at some point, they do have interest on those who usually sit on those commissioners' seat. Remember what happened in the last general election, where we had the Cherera Four and we had the remaining commissioners, though it was divided based on the affiliation of the people who they were advocating for. And the same has also been that the same issue has been raised by some other political class. As a country, or do we see ourselves progressing in terms of electoral justice, especially when it comes to giving positions to the people of Kenya who should serve the interest of the people, or we are just rewarding our interest, people who carry our interest?
Mr. Benson, first, I think these are some of the reasons why myself as a young person and many young people in our country um, came out and to express their dissatisfaction in the manner in which the government is running a number of affairs. One of them being the institution of IEBC. And this is a body, just as I said previously, that handles a very sensitive exercise
Mm.
in our nation, which is elections. And it's a body that must be constituted according to our laws. Our laws stipulates clearly how this body is supposed to be constituted. It is an independent body that should not be tampered or interfered with the executive. And in 2010, our nation went to an exercise that marked a historical landmark in our nation. That is the day when, or year when Kenya birthed a new constitution. And in that constitution, we had a lot that were placed in it to ensure that we have a nation that lives in tranquility, and creation of independent offices and commissions, which I had mentioned under Chapter 15 of our Kenyan Constitution,
Yeah.
was one of the major landmarks in our Constitution. So we expect that the government is going to follow our Constitution. There's need
Mhm.
for us to follow that Constitution as it was made and implement it to its entirety. If we are to have a stable nation, if we are to have a nation
Mhm.
that is living up to the aspiration of our founding fathers, we need to make sure that we implement that constitution as it is. So IBC is not an exemption. We do not want to see interference from the political class. This is an independent office, and its mandate is well protected in that chapter, which is 15 of our Kenyan Constitution. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Magero, for that. And that was just a by the way, and we want to engage you because you're one person who has participated in the protest, and now is almost a year that uh, we saw young people, especially from Gen Z, that came out and they protested in the event of them expressing their they're not satisfied with what the government was doing. Some of them ended up losing their lives. Some of them ended up missing, because like if you look at the numbers from last year from the Human Rights Commission, is that over 60 were lost their lives, and around 9 are still missing until today. They cannot be accounted for. When you look at even that 1 year to the commemoration that took place, whereby we lost also some other members, especially the young people. When you look at it, what in general, what can you say about it?
Um, I think I'll say that we are yet to learn from our past mistakes as a nation.
Okay.
Because on 25th June last year, we had young people who came out to express their satisfaction in the manner in which the government was being run. A
Mhm.
number of them were killed, some of them were maimed, those who are still living with serious injuries, some are still having bullets lodged in their bodies to date. And what happened on 25th June of this year, when we came out again to commemorate the day when these young people were brutalized by government. And we saw security agencies shamelessly, again, killing people on the same day when people are commemorating the
Mm,
day when these young people were killed. So you ask yourself that what type of government do we? We have got an insane government. It's
mm,
insane. There's a reason why we celebrate holidays or we commemorate days like this. Even in our nation, there are days when we celebrate as a nation, like the Independence Day and other days that we visit. There's a reason why we celebrate these days. We celebrate these days because we remember some of the achievements that we have made as a nation. There are also days when we remember the mistakes that we have done as a nation, and we have to commemorate them so that we remind ourselves that we have made mistakes before, and those mistakes should never be repeated again in the near future. So when we came out on 25th June this year, we came out to commemorate our brothers and sisters who were killed on 25th June last year, and also to remind the government that we are refusing to forget that on this day you brutally launch an attack on young people and kill many of them. And this must never happen again today, tomorrow, or in the near future.
mhm,
But what did we see? It still has so young people losing their lives on the street. So I feel that we are slow learners as a nation.
mhm,
We are quickly forgetting about a number of mistakes that we made as a nation,
mm.
and there's a serious need for Kenyans to rise up, and especially young people, to
Okay.
fix this nation once and for all.
Talking about young people, because when you look at the trend, especially what is happening with the administration, you see this trend whereby the people who are affected the most are the young people, especially those who tend to have a divergence view of the government. And especially this is informed by maybe what they express through the social media, because as you know, there's also one guy who is missing after posting uh, itinerary that was supposed to be used on Wednesday is missing. But this is something that we've seen. What is so wrong, or what is so in these young men that the government cannot listen to them, that if they express themselves, some of them ended up missing? Is it
Yes,
fear? Young men.
I didn't get you. I think we lost you a bit. Maybe you can come
Okay.
up again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, thank you. So if you look at June, ever since the the finance bill of 2024 was rejected by the young people, and they've been very constant to be criticizing the government of the day or administration of the day. But you find that there's this trend of these young people who tend to have divergent views. Some of them ended up missing. Why do you think this one is so, especially with the administration? Instead of listening to them, they end up missing.
Yes, I think we are having an administration or a system that is still that is still I can say that is still having the hangovers of the dictatorial regime that Kenya experienced from independence, and they are facing or they are meeting a generation that has got enough history at their disposal to learn from. We read about Kenyatta, we read about Moi, we read about those dictatorial regimes and how they were. We read about the contribution of the likes of James Orengo in the struggle, the contribution of the likes of Miguna, from Raila himself. We read about all this struggle. And we are refusing that we cannot sit as young people and see uh, um, a reinstatement of a system or a government that oppressed our grandparents, that oppressed our fathers. And we are insisting that we want a nation that is governed by the rule of law. You know very well that Kenya under Kibaki introduced the free education, and this gave opportunity to a number of young people to go to school. So they are dealing with a generation that has understand their rights so well. A generation that a majority were born just at the hem of promulgation of a new constitution, and a population that understand what that constitution is all about. So most of those who are in government and who are doing all these are still, they're still stuck with the hangover of those regimes. And it is quite unfortunate because our young people are not going to relent. They spoke on 25th June last year. They did it again this year. And it's unfortunate that the government have not learned that the more they are brutalizing these young people, the more they are killing them, the more they are maiming them, the more they are radicalizing young people. Actually, there's no one radicalizing young people in this nation more than the state itself. So until they go back to the drawing board and realize that killing young people is not going to make them keep quiet, brutalizing young people, abducting them is not going to make them keep quiet. They need to go back and look at a new strategy on how they can deal with young people. And because I feel that we are a generation that are too broke to buy fear, and the government needs to understand that. Yeah.
If you look at that, there are those who have been suggesting that people should start a conversation, especially so that they can arrive at issues that are affecting, especially the country. Do you share the same idea with those who are proposing for a conversation, a dialogue, kind of?
Mr. Benson, there are very many ways of expressing ourselves as citizens of this nation. And we can explore a number of options that will ensure that our grievances are taken care of. And that is not to say that we should not be allowed or we should not be given a chance to protest. Because right to protest is a right that is protected and enshrined in our constitution under Article 37 that allows every person to picket, demonstrate peaceably and unarmed and present a petition to a public authority or public office.
Mhm.
That is law. So
Mhm.
protest is law. And there's no one who has got any authority, not even the president, to suspend that
Mhm.
law. We made a constitution. If they want to make any change to that law,
Mhm.
then there is a proper way of doing that, which again, in our constitution, under chapter 6 on amendment of our constitution, there
Mhm.
are avenues that we can use in amending some of those major chapters or articles in our constitution. They cannot just wake up one day and change this constitution. So dialogue is good. It's one of the options that we can explore. But
Mhm.
again, there must be a political goodwill. Is the government willing to sit down with young people?
Mhm.
Are they willing to sit down with young people? That's a major question that we need to ask.
So,
And who?
mhm.
Yes, because if we are to go to a dialogue,
Mhm.
then we must have a proper criteria of identifying these young people who are going to be on board, because we know how government is cunning. They
Mhm.
will pick some of their proxies and bring on board in the name of those who are between age 18 and 35, which definitely at the end of the day they will say that they've met the constitutional
Mhm.
requirement, and have them on a round table, and then I'll say that they'll be caught on what they're supposed to say. At the end of the day, they'll say that these young people have spoke on behalf of other young people. We want to
Mhm.
be involved. If they're bringing us on board for dialogue,
Yeah.
we want to make suggestions on how they should identify those who are going to represent us
Yeah.
on dialogue, because we have got very many young people who have been representing the fellow young people, and
Mhm.
many that young people can help the government to identify when they are choosing a criteria of bringing them on board to speak on their behalf. So we are
Mhm.
open to dialogue. We are that does not justify why they should stop us from demonstrating, which is also a constitutional right.
So, and that's good if as a young person and who believes that we are open to dialogue, and as the leaders or as other quarters calls for that dialogue. But we've had a pattern in our dialogue, especially when it comes to political stalemate or the political processes, whereby the dialogue uh, is proposed, then the people that are proposed to sit in those dialogues, the outcome usually is usually not favorable to the people, especially, and the outcome usually favors the leaders. For instance, talk of NADCO report or the proposals that were made, you look at they were creating positions, and we had like various issues that were supposed to come. The same thing happened with the BBI or any other dialogue. After that, you find that the opposition and the government tend to work together. Just in case there's a dialogue, uh, is there any way that you can suggest such that we come up with people-oriented solution that the majority or 99% of the outcome is going to see on how to solve the issues that are affecting the commoners?
Yes, just as I told you, Mr. Benson, that uh, representation, when you talk about representation, even in research,
Mm,
uh, a representative of a population should have the characteristics of that population.
yeah.
And what do I mean? I mean that there's need to come up with a way of identifying these young people leaders who are going to represent
Mm,
their grievances. How do I identify them? We must identify young people who identify with young people.
mm,
And we have seen them in different spaces, many of them who have put their life in the line
mm,
fighting for young people, not only in the political spaces, even in other spaces. There's
yep.
need for them to come down to these young people and tell them that we want your representatives who are going to present your grievances.
Yeah.
Already there are those who are presenting young people's grievances even before they are elected, even before they are appointed. There are those who have offered and volunteered to
Mm.
come out and provide leadership in their own spaces.
Yeah.
You need to come down, let young people, if they want 10 people, young people can give them even 1,000 people to choose from.
Mm.
They can give them even 1,000 people to choose from. But let them not just come up with a list of people who are between age 18 and 35 and
Mm.
justify that they met the constitutional requirement of who a young person is and that young people are properly represented.
Okay.
When these young people will have identified to go and to represent them in this dialogue have been identified, the
Mhm.
same youths or these young people need to sit down and give them. They need to discuss first with the young people about issues that they feel that need to be discussed during those dialogues. So whatever they're presenting there should be issues that have come from their
Mm.
peers down
Yeah.
there. So I feel that that is the proper strategy that they need to use. They must not just pick anybody in the name of a young person because they are aged between 18 and 35. Some of them do not identify completely and totally with
Mm.
some of these grievances that these young people are putting forth.
Okay, thank you. No, in our conversation, you mentioned something about the protest, and even you quote part of the constitutions that allows us to go to protest and where to bring our petition just if we feel aggrieved. But me and you are aware of a bill that is being brought again into parliament by Nairobi Women Rep Esther Passaris. And if you look at the bill, some of the some of the suggestions or some of the proposals that she's making, that we have to know, one, the number of people. There's a number of people who should protest. It should not exceed another a certain number. That is one in that bill. Two is also talking about restricted areas. Places like Parliament, State House, or judiciary. Let's say for those offices. And remember, these are public offices. And maybe if you are not okay with what may be coming from the judiciary, the only way to petition that, you have to go to the judiciary to petition the reason for your grievances. But if you're being told, like there's as you're being told when the distance or the area that you should be at or you're limited to you as somebody who has participated in the demonstration fighting for the rights of people, when you get such like proposals of bills, what come to your mind, and what does it tell you about what we are dealing with, especially right now?
Yeah, I must say again that it's a sad state of affair to even imagine that honorable member of parliament would even think of coming up with such a bill
Mm.
to alter one of the most crucial articles in our constitution, that is Article 37, because uh, this is one article that makes our constitution to be a constitution that is a progressive and article that allows citizens to express themselves.
Mhm.
And I must say that we are a nation, sorry to say this, that uh, tolerating a crop of stupid leaders.
Mhm.
It's sad. It's sad that I have to say that, because there's a reason why we refer to our leaders as honorable members.
Mhm.
Why would they come up with a bill or want to alter the bill? Simply because at this point in time,
Mhm.
it's a bill that butters the side of the bread.
Mhm.
Why will they do that? There's a reason why we have got these laws. And laws and our constitutions are very sensitive. Laws and constitution of any nation are very sensitive. There are
Yeah.
things that leaders should not use to settle political goals or advance their own political interest. And it's sad to hear that members of parliament want to alter a section of our constitution, a section of our laws to fit them. And before the sun sets, they'll be on the receiving end of the same laws that they have altered. We already have got our constitution, we have got the Public Order Act, Chapter 56, that spells out everything about issues of protests, uh, 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 and we do not see any need why that article needs to be altered or any bill needs to be reintroduced.
Mhm.
Everything that they're talking about
Yeah.
in the bill that they're introducing are things which are there in the Public Order Act. They are there. That you are supposed to notify the police about protest. You are supposed to tell the police the route that you are going to use. You are supposed to. All these are there in the Public Order Act. So I don't understand why they want to make our constitution lose some of the gains that we have made. As a nation, we need to be progressive. We need to consolidate the gains that we have made and find a way of making sure that we progress. So we must shun these leaders who are taking us backward. We cannot allow them to introduce such bills, and Kenyans must come out and condemn it, because already, even in the Public
Mhm.
Order Act, rights to expressions are already limited to some extent. They're already limited to some extent. So if they continue limiting these rights, then they are
Mhm.
going to deny Kenyans fundamental rights, which are in the constitution, and such bills should not be allowed to pass
Okay,
in parliament.
let's just like have a different scenario, because let's say, for example, because like right now we know, and it is in the public domain, that the ODM and UD are working together, and this bill is being proposed by a member of ODM. If we go back in 2023, when especially the Azimio were leading this protest, and if you look at some of the videos that even going around, they're documented, even where the leader of Azimio, that is the Right Honorable Prime Minister, at some point, he said that we will gather and people will march to State House. If this was happening to them, do you think the member of parliament could have brought that bill?
That's why, Mr. Benson, I'm telling you that we cannot allow them to come up with bills or alter laws depending on which side of their
Mm,
bread is buttered. And this should not be allowed. We need to understand that the power belongs to the people. Our constitution, under Article 1, gives all the sovereign power to the people. And it tells us that we can exercise these rights either directly or indirectly directly or indirectly
mhm,
through our democratically elected representatives.
mhm.
And for the member of parliament who is trying to introduce this bill, she needs to go back to Article 1 of our Kenyan Constitution and Article 3 on defense of our Constitution. To read those two and understand our Constitution properly. And she needs to realize that whatever she's doing is retrogressive. Our Constitution is very clear on how
Mhm.
all that can be done, and the power belongs to the people. We are allowed to go to any public office and present a petition. The government has got all the
Yeah,
machinery, they have got monopoly over violence, and they need to put everything in place to ensure that protests are peaceful.
yeah.
They need to contain the protests. So if they must alter the law or come up with the new bills for them to contain protests, then they are actually affirming to us that they are incompetent and they have failed as a government.
And just for the records, this is this bill. First of all, the same anti-demos bill was brought by the CS Roku right now, and that is, I think, it was in 2013 when the Azimio members of parliament were protesting against. So it tells you how sometimes the politics plays, because now it is Esther Passari is coming up with the bill, and they're working together. He's in the government. And the other time it was CS Ruku who brought about the anti-demo bill. So it tells you. But like, if you look at it keenly, there are so many questions that to me I would raise, especially when you bring this bill. Does it mean that you want to tell us that the police have failed in their mandate to protect the people? And also, you talked about the power and this power is donated to you by the people themselves. And if they've donated you the power and they feel like, okay, the power that we've donated to you, you're not answering our grievances, so we want to come and petition you. So, and those offices are funded by the public. So you cannot, for instance, restrict especially the Kenya who donated this power to you, to come to those offices. And remember, they're called public offices; they're not individual owned. So I think
Yes.
the member of parliament should consider that.
Actually, Mr. Benson, we are not saying that we are promoting anarchy in our country. We want a peaceful country,
Yes.
a country that has got an environment where we can develop as a nation. But when you begin restricting citizens from
Mm.
presenting petition to these public offices,
Mm.
and you want to justify that you are doing so because there are goons who either infiltrate this demonstration to come and cause chaos,
Mm-hmm.
when the government have got all the machinery and they have got monopoly over violence,
Mm.
the police have got a role, they have got responsibility.
Yeah.
Whenever you notify them of a protest, they need to discharge their duty. They must ensure first that the protesters are safe and make sure that properties and any other citizen who is not participating in those protests is also safe. So you cannot tell us that because at some point young people almost burnt down parliament, then there is need to
Mm.
alter our constitution or alter some of our laws
Mm.
to put stringent measures that will prevent people from moving close to these undesignated areas.
Yeah.
What are you telling us? The
Mm.
question should be, how did we even find ourselves in that place as a nation? That should be the first question, because Kenyans have been very cooperative, very patriotic from independence. Those
Yeah.
are things that have never happened. Why don't they ask themselves a question that why now? Why now? Why
Mm.
is it even happening? Some of the things that our fathers will not even imagine, our grandparents will not even imagine that will
Yeah.
ever happen. That citizens will go up to parliament and even touch it on fire.
Mm.
The question that the government need to ask themselves is that how did we find ourselves here?
Mm.
That should be the big question. Because if they continue introducing laws that are going to put stringent measures, that
Mm.
is not going to solve these problems. I don't think that is going to solve this problem. They need to ask themselves why we found ourselves there, and that's the question that if they answer, then they will have gotten it right, but not
But
to introduce things that are going to take away some of our fundamental rights.
If you're saying that, how did we find ourselves where we are at this today, the question that you're bringing, and you look at our leaders, do they understand that the question, like even asking that why are we here? Because we saw when it happened, what we saw later was appointment of the experts, especially that were supposed to tackle the issues that made people to go to the street. That's what I think, because that's how we were told. But despite the appointment of experts, that the public is still dissatisfied, especially the young people. Like the issues that the young people are raising, and still those decisions are being made. Is there understanding between the leadership, be it opposition and the current administration and the people? Is it an understanding, or there's a misunderstanding? The people are not communicating, or the government or the leaders are communicating this, and the people also are communicating something differently, and there's not that understanding.
I think the grievances are very clear.
Mhm. But who
Whether
are they understanding? Is it the government are understanding, or the people are understanding? Are we understanding each other here?
or I think that they're deliberately refusing to understand. They're
Mm,
deliberately refusing to understand because the grievances of citizens, the grievances of young people are very clear. We are talking about stop extrajudicial killing,
yeah.
protect protesters,
Mm,
simply implementing Article 37,
yeah.
stop corruption.
Mm,
The grievances are that clear, but these
mm,
things are still happening. We are seeing leaders moving from one function to another function, carrying hundreds of millions of shillings in the
mhm,
name of empowering those communities. We're seeing the president also walking from one region to another place in the name of taking development there. Is it the work of president to take development to any region? Those regions have got elected representatives who are representing them both in subnational and national government, the county assembly and the national government,
yeah.
both even in the Senate. So what is the president? What's the role of president going to a region carrying money or in the name of taking development in those regions? What are you trying to tell other parts of the country? The president should be a symbol of national unity. And if it is an issue of development, every Kenyan has got a right to enjoy development irrespective of which side of the political function he or she supports,
Mm,
irrespective of which community he comes from or which ethnic group he comes from, irrespective of which religion he believes in or she believes in.
mm,
So we expect a nation that understands, a government that understands its role to the people. Once the people have faithfully honored their side of the bargain by paying tax, obeying the law, the government must also honor the side of the bargain of ensuring that they deliver the services to each and every Kenyan in a fair way without any prejudice.
okay, let's talk about broad-based government, and and the broad-based. When we look at broad-based, is basically when the Right Honorable Prime Minister came and shook hand with President William Ruto. But before that, they were political enemies, you know, and some of the policies that were laid down by the President William Ruto, actually, the Right Honorable Prime Minister used to criticize those. But today, you find they are working together, and one of the main reason is to create peace, yeah, to unite Kenya so that we can have peace. Two was about the development and the devolution, especially when you look at it among others. You as a person, ever since the broad-based government came into place, when you do your assessment as a young person, is there something that you can point that has benefited the people of Kenya, especially that the people of Kenya can say that, okay, because of broad-based government, we've benefited from this, we've benefited from this.
Okay, first, I would like to begin by saying that the absence of war
Mm,
does not mean that there is peace.
mm,
And the fact that the nation may not be at war because broad-based government was formed does not mean that there is peace. What we want is a lasting solution,
yeah.
and a lasting solution where Kenyans will live in tranquility. a
Mhm.
lasting solution where Kenyans will not be worried about who becomes the president
Mm.
from whichever community, from whichever religion. We need to ensure that we remember where we have come from
Yeah.
for us to understand where we are and where we are going.
Mm.
Uh, when Kenya achieved its independence, the entire nation, all the communities were united
Mm.
against one common enemy who are the colonizers.
Mm.
And even when Jaramogi came out and said that no Uhuru without Kenyatta,
Yeah.
he was not conscious about his community. He was not conscious about the community that Kenyatta was coming from.
Mm.
The most important thing to them at that point in time was that they are a people, they are Kenyans, Africans,
Mhm.
and the common enemy was the colonizers.
Yeah.
There are those who still blame Jaramogi up to now that he had seen that he dropped an opportunity of ever being a president.
Yeah.
But whatever he did at that point in time,
Mhm.
Kenyans were thinking as one. Much as we were different communities, but the most important thing was that we are Kenyans. But now
Yeah.
the political class have divided us along ethnicity, and this is what now is messing up our nation. So the issue of broad-based government,
Mhm.
I feel that it has only swept the dust under the carpet.
Mhm.
But that is not what we want. We want a lasting solution where any Kenyan will feel safe under whichever government that is in place.
Okay. So, especially like you are from Kisumu, and Kisumu has a history, especially when it comes to protest. Not only protesting and injustices that has always been in Kisumu. When I talk about the 2023 protest, we saw young people taken outside their homes from the videos, and they were beaten. Some of them lost their lives. And right now, if you get the conversation, is that now we are in government, and you find that even the last mandamano that took place, I saw the governor say that it was very peaceful. Um, as somebody that has always been there and following the justice, um, how far has the justice for, especially for those who lost their life in 2023, how far is that? Are there compensation? Are there maybe those who have get the justice, justice then compensation because you've worked with them?
Yes, I must say that those who casualties of those violence have not been taken care of to
Mm.
date. There are groups that are organizing even psychosocial support,
Mm.
civil society organizations, some non-governmental organizations that are coming up actually to engage them and know where they are after the
Mm.
protests that happened previously. The government has not compensated them. And actually, these are some of the issues that we were raising when we were commemorating 25th June.
Mhm.
And sadly, that there are those who came out to say that maybe Kisumu was peaceful. Actually, protests are not supposed to be chaotic.
Yeah.
Our constitution explains very well under the same Article 37 that it should be, we have got rights to peaceably
Yeah.
and unarmed to picket, demonstrate, and present a petition to public authority.
Mhm.
So I don't understand why people are too quick to associate protest with violence. Because the government, through their security agencies, have got a role to play in this protest. Actually, it is the police who are supposed to help in implementation of this article.
Mm-hmm.
So if you say that this area was peaceful, protests are actually supposed to be peaceful in the first
Yes.
place. They are supposed to be peaceful. And who
Mm.
are supposed to oversee or to ensure that they are peaceful? The police need to be there to make
Mm-hmm.
sure that they deal with any rogue uh, rogue people who have infiltrated this protest. They're supposed to be there to ensure that the protesters are safe. They're supposed to be there to ensure that the protesters are not inconveniencing any other person who is not protesting.
Yes.
So, for the case of Kisumu,
Mm.
there were organized protests, but this protest did not take place because there are also organized goons who were brought and placed in different places within Kisumu city to make sure that they thwarted the efforts of any other Kenyan who wanted out to come out and exercise their constitutional right
Mm.
to peaceably and unarmed protest, picket, and present a petition to a public authority, something that is quite unfortunate,
Yeah.
very unfortunate indeed.
So like let's say, for example, because I think when you had your pressure, one of our representative was there, and you spoke about the justice, and there was a petition that you were supposed to carry and bring it to the relevant authorities. How far did you go with that? And if you gave that petition, what was the response of the authorities that you delivered the petition to?
Yes, we did a petition and we took the petition to IPOA offices, the Independent Police Oversight. We had a boardroom meeting with the IPOA officials and we presented that petition to them. We know very well that IPOA are the ones who have got the mandate to oversight the police
Mhm.
and their conduct. So we placed all our grievances in that petition, including uh, an end to
Yeah.
extrajudicial killings,
Mhm.
and we shall be following up to see how far
Mhm.
the Independent Police Oversight have gone with our petition
Yeah.
on issues of police brutality and maiming of Kenyans during protests. Yes.
Okay, like right now, I know, like now, let's say, like right now, you are fighting for the human rights, especially for those who are in Kisumu to get their justice. What about you as an individual? How safe do you feel you are, or how comfortable are you? Maybe if you're fighting this, especially based on what is happening right now, at the moment.
Of course, Albert Ojwang was picked from home.
Yeah.
They drove him all the way to Nairobi and they killed him.
Yeah. Okay.
And Karaoke was actually shot in the street while he was selling masks, and he crossed paths with the police who were dealing with the protest. He lost his life, I think, yesterday.
Mhm.
We have many other Kenyans who have been abducted for speaking the truth
Yeah.
and who lost their lives. I don't think I'm an exemption.
Mm.
If they lost their lives, they were not secure under a brutal regime like this. I'm not safe either. But that should not stop me from speaking as a young person in this nation, as a young leader in this nation.
Mhm.
I am anxious of my future. I'm
Yeah.
anxious of the future of the young generation of this country. And if I sit waiting for somebody to come to save us, then
Mhm.
we may sleep forever. If it is anything, we are the people we've been waiting for.
Mhm.
So I still want to encourage young people that we must speak. The good thing with death is that if they kill you, they can only kill you once.
Mm.
They can only kill you once.
Mm.
And pain ends in death.
Okay.
So we cannot relent in our fight to ensure that we have got a better nation.
Mm.
Young people should not relent in the fight to ensure that we have got a better nation.
Mm.
Where we are now, there are people who sacrificed. There are people who are driven by conscience, who are driven by conviction, just like us,
Mhm.
who came out and put their life in the line to
Mhm.
make us enjoy some of the freedoms and fundamental rights that we're enjoying at the moment.
Mhm.
So much as we are not secure, much as we are not safe, we cannot choose to be silent. Because if we are obedient in the face of brutality,
Yeah.
if we are obedient in the face of a rogue regime,
Yeah.
people must understand that such obedience has led actually to the death of millions across the world. We are not
Mm.
safe obedient, we are more safe disobedient.
Yeah, okay. Today the body they had a requiem mass for Albert Ojwang, and the parents spoke, especially the mother, uh, and the father also spoke. And I think when the mother spoke, it was like you would see the pain in this woman. Um, uh, See the pain, feel the pain, being our only son. And when you relate that and you look at sometimes when these issues occur, you see what is being discussed in parliament, and the people who are discussing these issues are the representative of people like Albert Ojwang, who will be ferried tomorrow, airlifted to Kisumu, then proceed to their home in Homa Bay County. Where did we lose that humanity? Where did we lose it? Like I say that now, where did we lose it?
Oh, actually, today, just before I came for this interview, I was in a matatu sitting with the other fellow Kenyans on my way back to the house. And I was going through my phone and I came across that video of Albert Ojwang's requiem mass that was taking place in Kisumu. And it
Mm.
was a very somber mood to see the mother mourning his only son. And a lot of things went through my mind.
Mhm.
Why would this happen in a nation that achieved its independence almost more than 50 years ago, and
Mm.
especially in this century? Why would it happen when we have got a very dark history with such things?
Mm.
We know what some of political figures, people were fighting for this nation, things that they went through. Some of them who we still have up to date, the likes of Raila Odinga being detained, students like Titus Adungosi who were brutalized while in campus, the things that the likes of James Orengo went through. My question that I ask myself is that when this is happening, how does someone like James Orengo, Raila
Mhm.
Odinga,
Mhm.
Wafula Buke, Miguna, and many others who are brutalized and who are in the struggle to ensure that we have got a safe Kenya, that such a thing should not
Mm.
happen. How do they feel? How do they
Mm.
feel? So I feel that we, as the younger generation, There's a scholar called Franz Fanon who said that each generation out of relative obscurity must
Yeah.
discover its mission, fulfill it, or betray it.
Mm.
Maybe, maybe the likes of Orengo, the likes of Raila, those who fought during that time, they did not betray their mission.
Mm-hmm.
They brought us a new constitution, they brought us multi-party, they did all that. And they feel that maybe they are not obligated to fight for us. So
Mm.
we as the current generation have got a responsibility of ensuring that we fulfill our mission or betray it all the same. We must sit down and ask ourselves one big question, that what type of government, what governance, what leadership do we want in our nation?
Yeah.
Young people, young leaders need to be very intentional.
Mm.
They need to be very intentional and ensure that they come up with a proper plan of forming a government that they want. They need to organize themselves. There is need for us to bring all the young technocrats to bring their ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Which type of leader, which type of government do they want?
Mm.
Will Durant, one of the great scholars, once said that the political machine triumphs because it is a united minority acting against a divided majority.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what we are seeing. The political class or the minority, who are well organized, have come up with a system,
Yeah.
and this system is giving birth to brutal people every time. They are well planned, both economically, they have planned themselves socially, they have planned themselves politically.
Mm.
They know economically how they are going to come up with policies
Mm-hmm.
that are going to tax us to our bones.
Okay.
They know socially how they are going to make sure that they manipulate different ethnic groups to
Mm-hmm.
have their way. They know politically how they have organized themselves to make sure that at the end of the day, the candidate who is in the ballot who is going to represent their interest is a candidate who understands their interests. So young people must also organize themselves.
Okay.
At the moment, the Gen Z are supposed to have a proper plan moving forward on how they are going to form any government in the near future, and
Mm.
that government must have a clear picture on how they are going to handle the issues of the economy of the country, how they are going to handle the political aspect of it, and also the social aspect of it.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Jimmy Magero, thank you so much for taking your time to have a conversation with us, because we know the issues that are affecting us in the country are so much, and which will require us to have another conversation or set another day so that we can continue conversing. And I would also want to take this opportunity to thank you again for sparing your time to be here on the studio. And also want to thank the following: Gibson Koda, Douglas Kibogong, Kevin Obura, Brenda Obedi, Judith Karitha, and um, everybody who was watching us. Mr. Magero, maybe your last word, especially for the young people who are trying to fight for justice.
Okay, my last word to the young people who are fighting for justice is that they should not relent. The future belongs to us, and the future that we want is our responsibility. Some
Mm.
of these leaders who are sending fear to young people who are coming out to try and make sure that we have got a government that is sensitive to some of our grievances. Some of them are already old. In 15 years' time, nature will take its course. 10 years down the line, a number of them will not even be there.
Mhm.
But we still have a long way. The future belongs to us. If we sit down, we are going to grow all hopeless people. And that is a position where no young person wants to find themselves. You must also realize that it is a collective responsibility
Yeah.
for everyone to come on board.
Mhm.
Everyone must come on board. Everyone's voice must be heard. It should not be Benson alone. It should not be Jimmy alone. Our strength is in our unity as young people. The young people must also make sure that they are organized. We need to bring technocrats, as I've said, on board. The young technocrats, we remember the likes of Tom Boyer, who came up with good economic models which have been used by even other countries. Young people can also come together, put that together. If we are saying that we are tribeless, if we are saying that we are tribeless, then we need to make sure that we explore that as a strength and an opportunity for us to bring our ideas and opinion together to make sure that we have got a proper plan on how we are going to lead this country today and tomorrow. Thank you.
Mr. Jimmy, once again, thank you so much for taking your time to be with us. And this is Brother Benson. This is where we usually have conversation about our nation and about our country, and we share ideas because I always believe that in a thriving nation, if a nation thrives, all of us will thrive. If a nation falls, all of us will fall. It doesn't matter where your political ideology or where you channel your support, whether it is in the government, whether you are in the opposition, or whether you were. But we have to, it is a clerical call for all of us to come together to build a nation. And a nation that is built on issue based, a nation that is built on good leadership, a nation that is built um, on respect and the dignity of humanity. That is the nation that we want. So here is where we have those conversations, and we always welcome people with divergence view. If you feel in any way that what we might be saying is not right, you also have an opportunity to come and share with us. Because if you share with us which you feel is very right, then you can also be an eye opener to us. But you are always, everybody is always welcome in this channel. Bona Magero, once again, as a channel, we always say thank you because this is the third time we are hosting you. I can remember very well, few years ago when we were starting, you were among the people who came here and we discussed so many. And we cannot go again without saying thank you for your support, and we will always continue to pray for your desires, for the good country that you want. And where there's a support, like in a media, we always be here to give people the information. So anytime you have a information that you want people to know, just reach out to us. We will be very glad to give you that opportunity, sir. And thank you so much.
Thank you.